Well, class, this is it. This is the last week, and um, we're done. So you have your final papers options put up, and they're pretty straightforward. If you've made it up this far, you'll be fine on the paper. Um, so if you have any questions about the exam, feel free to give me a call. But yeah, so that's the simple part. I was looking over a lot of your grades. Some of you have kind of disappeared. Like I have some of my students that were doing all the assignments and then they've dropped off for the last few assignments. So one thing that I need you to understand, um, and I've said this before, if I have not put a zero in an assignment, um, the grade that you have is not being reflected. It assumes you have 100%. If I put a zero in, then it knocks your grade down. So right now, what I want to do is this for you, is give you this opportunity. If you have more than 3 assignments that are late and you haven't talked to me, you cannot turn those in. Unless you're going to call and talk to me. And we're going to have a discussion about this. So because I cannot get a landslide of work to do for late people that just think that you can magically get full credit and drop me a ton of work, okay, last minute. But I am workable. Right now, what you do need to do is look at your grades, see what you have. Do you need late work? If I did let you turn in late work, right now is the time to get that done, okay? I'm going to be very busy for the next 2 days. Tuesday is the next day that you'll be able to get a hold of me. And so I just really need you to kind of like take your grades serious, figure out what you want to do in terms of if you're going to turn in extra work or not. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you know probably Friday or Saturday when I've finished up grading everything. And then I'll have you double check and look before I send the final grades, probably Saturday, to PiratesNet. Okay? Now, what I want to remind you is that there's more points than on the syllabus. I have a lot more points. It's close to 700. I think it says 400. What's annoying is that on Blackboard, I switched it to show percentage and points. But for some reason, it only shows me the percentage. I find out from many of you students that you're not seeing it say the percentage. So you're going to have to do the math yourself. That's really annoying. Let's say Friday, if you want, or Tuesday, you can call me up to take a look and see exactly where your grade's at, okay? And I can tell you. But you'll need to contact me earlier in the day, not later in the day, okay? Or even a text, something. And let's see. I think that's all I wanted to say about the work. I think you guys did great. It's a grim way to end the semester, but I think a very important one. You have covered a wide range of topics. And I am really hoping that you don't let this just be the end of it for you, that you realize when it comes to Latin America, to India, to Afghanistan, and Pakistan, and Iran, Iran, with Iraq and Syria, Palestine, Israel, Lebanon, North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, Central and South America, Russia, China, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, right? There's a whole world out there, okay? And I can keep going on. I want you to embrace this world because we have so many great tools at our fingertips to give us this information. And, we are the world's last superpower, for better or for worse. And our nation has bases in every part of the world. We should know about this world that we're so engaged in, as I mentioned to you in the beginning of this class. So I hope you find inspiration in that. Now, I also just want to kind of say something that while I talked about a little bit of religion, and I'm going to end on a little different thought about religion before I go, maybe controversially, but I think fairly, in the context of this class. I still take the position that religion is not the main reason for problems in the world. I consider it to be the ideology that political opportunists use to unify people. It can complicate a conflict. It can be quite a grotesque form when it's put into rule of law in a very distorted way. But as I've pointed out, if you look at every society that we've discussed, we've seen very tragic human events take place that didn't require religion to be there. In other words, human beings have issues in which they want to create wars over or not. They want to impose certain ideas on people or they don't. And so I think that religion is a part of this various ideological frameworks in which these debates can get infused with. But I think that it's a mistake to say historically that religion is the reason for anything. If you look at the Cold War, I hope you realize that in the Islamic world, many people wanted to be communist, which is an anti-religious ideology. And so over time, different societies get stuck with different sets of options, and they start looking for different kind of things. They find their way out to try to deal with the world. And so the so-called Islamic world isn't always just a religious these are not always people who only think about Islam all day, but they do gravitate towards it often, like all societies. When you're getting poor or disenfranchised, or there's wars, or there's problems, it makes sense that people return to religion, right? And so, you might have issue with some of what I'm saying. I hope that you engage with that thought that I'm telling you. And you might disagree, but I hope that you actually delve into the world enough to find something concrete in which to debate with somebody like me about that argument, right? Okay, so that's what I'm hoping to see. And I just want to also kind of pose a thought. We see ISIS, how they kill fellow Muslims, and they do mean things to Christians and Jews and the Yazidis and all these other people. And people say, well, is the Quran, is it just only say to do bad things? It's interesting. The Quran here in Surah al-Baqarah, the cow, it says at 262, chapter 2, verse 262. Surely those who believe, and those who are Jews, and the Christians, and the Sabians, whoever believes in Allah, Allah is God. I have an Arabic Bible. It says, Fil bideh khalaq Allah as-samat wal ard. In the beginning, God creates the heavens and the earth. Allah, all right? Those who believe in Allah and the last day and does good, they shall have their reward from their Lord, and there is no fear for them, nor shall they grieve. Now, there's been various interpretations that Muslim scholars have had to try to explain this one. But we see in the Quran that we have a verse that says that. Other verses say things that seem to be a little bit opposite of that. There's another part of the Quran that says, Lakum dinakum waliya din. To you be your religion, and to me be mine. It also says, La ikra fihi. La ikra. There's no compulsion fidin. Sorry, in religion. So I just butchered the Arabic. Forgive me, my Muslim friends. No compulsion in religion. To you be your religion, to me be mine. And the verse that you just saw. But there's some other verses that say different things. We know in the Bible it talks about war, and God is a God of armies, and there's also verses of war. But notice what Romans in the New Testament, chapter 12, verse 17. I'll start with that. Romans 12:17. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everybody. If it is possible, as far as it depends upon you, live at peace with everyone. And then the next verse. Do not take revenge, my friends, but leave room for God's wrath, for it is written, it is mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord. On the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head. Do not become overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. There's debate about the actual meaning of the coals on the head, by the way. That could be an old idiom from back in the day that might have meant something like healing, or it could be saying that you're actually getting your enemy by being nice. It's not really clear on that verse. But so do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with the good. I mean, isn't this interesting? We had a president that said that Jesus was his favorite philosopher. At 9/11, many of us, I knew a girl who voted for him just for saying that. At 9/11, I think we all rightly wanted revenge. Revenge is a natural human instinct. And here we have in the New Testament, many people who believe this book is true are told that revenge is not for us to have, but we call for it. It says, if your enemy is hungry and thirsty, give him something to drink and something to feed. We're afraid of refugees. We don't want to feed and give them drink, seeing them as potential enemies. And here's my whole point. This might seem inappropriate for me to go into this as your professor ending this. When it comes to texts, what we read and what we say we believe in and what we do, how much do these books actually reflect on why we act in the way that we do? And this is the question that we have as historians all the time. And, it's not a straightforward answer. People claiming that certain books we should live by. And it seems that people do what they do with everything. They pick and choose what they want to use for whatever they're feeling at the moment. That's what it seems, right? And I think that, atheists are not out of that dilemma when it comes to other things. I think this is a human thing to pick and choose. And maybe if we came to terms with that, it was a more honest thing to say. I don't know. But as a historian, we don't just read texts and say that's what people believe. We read the text and we say, that's what their highest ideals are. And then we see what they do. And, I think that every time I teach a class, I always get very reflective and I think about the universe and humanity and all these things. And, my head hurts a little bit. And then I take a deep breath. And I hope that I'm becoming a better human being each time I grow in knowledge and experience life. Everybody, please have a great rest of your summer. And we'll be in contact as you need me.